Online retail company Shein is accusing online marketplace Temu of stealing designs and copying product images in a lawsuit filed in a court in the US. Now, experts say the legal battle could set a precedent in an industry with a high risk of intellectual property infringement. Let's get you some analysis now. Legal analyst Werina Griffiths joins us now for more. Werina, it's great to have you with us on the program. Thanks very much for coming on. So, Temu and Shein. I'm always taken down on social media for Shein or Shein, but however you like to pronounce it. Major disruptors in the online retail space. So what is the background to this latest feud?
Hi, Michelle. Thank you so much for having me. The background to this legal dispute between these two retail giants is quite simply Temu's entry into the US market. So according to the papers that have been filed by Shein, that's how I pronounce it, they state that Temu entered the US market in 2022. And by May of 24, Temu had already acquired a user base of between 150 and 160 million users. So in a very short space of time has established quite a strong foothold in this very competitive market. And obviously, being a direct competitor of Shein, a part of that market share lost to Temu would have come at a cost to Shein.
Right. And I imagine when it comes to this kind of space, the line between whether we are following trends or whether we're infringing on intellectual property rights are so incredibly blurred, aren't they?
Indeed, they are. I mean, you mentioned that the fashion industry is incredibly intellectual property heavy. You know, there's a lot in terms of the design around fashion and fashion brands. And, you know, part of the script, so to speak, would be to set the trends, right, and to follow the relevant trends. But the important thing is that one needs to do so within the legal bounds of lawful competition.
Yeah. So the complaint is alleging that Temu has subsidized its low prices, and I imagine that this is one of the more serious complaints. But they've subsidized low prices by encouraging sellers to offer counterfeit goods. Do you reckon that this is probably up there insofar as, you know, if we manage if we put it in order of the seriousness of the allegations, that one probably leads the pack?
I think you're probably right. I think all of the allegations leveled against Temu is incredibly scathing, you know, and we'll have to wait and see to what extent they can be proven to be accurate. But indeed, if it is true that sellers on Temu are being encouraged to sell counterfeit product, I mean, that would be, you know, a significant impact to especially the consumers being duped into buying those goods, you know, thinking that they are indeed buying genuine product.
They also accuse the brand of copyright and trademark infringement, misappropriating trade secrets, poaching employees. A lot of it is around the deceptive practices of the brand, allegedly.
Indeed it is. So the allegations all center around various forms of infringement of these intellectual property, such as the copyright infringement that is on designs that are used on garments that Shein has claimed is just simply been reproduced by Temu without any consent or authorization, as well as the use of the photographs from Shein's website. And we all know, you know, the value of those photographs and what significant role they play in the enticing the consumer to purchase on Shein.
Right. And you know, the irony is that Shein is now accusing Temu of offering extremely low prices, which they say is only possible if you're using unethical business practices. And the irony here is that, for example, here in South Africa, local designers have complained about the same thing well, a similar thing insofar as Shein is concerned, is that they offer very, very low prices that local designers simply can't compete with.
That is indeed the case. So Shein's entire claim is that the only reason why Temu can compete with it, why it can deliver the product that it delivers at the prices that it does, is because it's engaging in these business practices that allow it to, have extensive cost cutting and coming in at these ridiculously low prices.
Right. Do you reckon that depending on how this goes, I'm not sure how difficult it is to prove these allegations, Werina, but it might indeed lead to Temu closing?
That is difficult to say, Michelle. You're right when you say it will entirely come down to whether or not Shein is able to prove these claims. And, there are a number of claims involved, as we have now discussed, and it would need to succeed on all of them, or at least some of them. And if Shein is correct in saying that Temu's entire business model only works because it is involved in these unlawful business practices, that should result in a finding where Temu is prevented from doing so going forward, essentially, having an impact on the entire business model, and it would have to go back to the drawing board. That might have, an impact on prices as well as product availability, and depending on, what potential changes can be made to supply sourcing and supply chain. If Temu really is unable to sustain a business model, then we might well see, a revision at least of the jurisdictions in which it chooses to operate. Yeah,
but the burden of proof, Werina, you're saying would be much higher for Shein to succeed on all fronts, and for indeed for that to precipitate the platform Temu leaving entirely.
Yes, that is correct.
All right, Werina Griffiths, legal analyst on the latest battle between Shein and Temu. Thanks very much.